Okay, I need to tell you a story right out of the gate. It's something that was shared in the source material we're looking at today, and honestly, it completely sets the stage for everything we are about to unpack in this explainer. So, a father was just hanging out in his kitchen, right? When his 5-year-old daughter runs up to him, throws her arms wide open, and says, "Daddy, carry me." And his response, like so many of us in the absolute middle of a chaotic day, was simply, "Not right now, babe. Daddy's busy." She walked away, and, she didn't ask again that day. But 3 days later, he was reading a piece of research stating that the average child actually stops asking to be carried somewhere between ages 4 and 6. And he just sat there. He was suddenly hit with this paralyzing realization. What if that was it? What if "not right now" was literally the last time she ever asked? There are these unannounced lasts happening all throughout childhood, and they're constantly slipping by us completely unnoticed. Now, before we get into the heavy neuroscience behind all this, I want you to actively think about your own experience for a second. What's something your kid used to do that they just quietly stopped doing? Drop it in the comments below because we really want to hear those stories. Oh, and stick with me because a little later in this explainer, I am going to share a statistic with you that will completely change how you approach bedtime tonight. I guarantee it. Now, just to break the tension a tiny bit, why do dads always fall asleep during bedtime stories? Because they're the ones who need the ending the most. I know, terrible dad joke, but we need a little levity here because the truth we're unpacking is heavy. Every single stage of your child's life has a last moment. There's a last time they crawl before they walk, a last time they climb into your bed after a bad nightmare, a last time they actually call you mama or daddy. And the wildest part? Every single one of those lasts happens with zero announcement. There's no alarm bell, your kid doesn't hand you a 2-week notice, it just stops on a regular Tuesday. We are so incredibly good at noticing the firsts, right? We photograph firsts, we cry at firsts, we frame firsts, but we have absolutely zero system in place for the lasts. Section 1. The statistical reality. Let's dive right into this data from the journal Child Development, because it puts a very specific, undeniable weight on this whole concept. Researchers actually tracked the milestone transitions of children from infancy all the way through early adolescence, and they found that parents could accurately remember their child's firsts with about 78% accuracy. But when they were asked about the lasts, parents could accurately identify when a childhood behavior ended with less than 4% accuracy. Think about that gap. The vast majority couldn't even narrow it down to the correct year. 7. That is the average age children stop spontaneously reaching for a parent's hand. Not because you told them to, but simply because they wanted to. And the data gets even more specific than that. Research from the Harvard Center on the Developing Child reveals that the window of peak physical affection seeking from parents, the age where kids are most likely to initiate hugs, cuddles, and contact, well, that window closes largely before age 10, and most parents don't realize that window is completely shut until years later. So if you have a 5-year-old right now, you are standing right in the middle of a window that is rapidly closing. Because of this, there's a very common list of lasts that parents report grieving after the fact. It's the last time they were small enough to fall asleep on your chest, the last time they mispronounced a word in that adorable, hyper-specific way, saying paschetti instead of spaghetti, ambulance instead of ambulance, or yesternight instead of last night. It's the last time they genuinely believed in magic, the last time they wanted to wear matching Halloween costumes with you, the last time they literally ran to the front door when you came home. And perhaps the toughest one of all, the last time they said, "I love you" in public, without checking to see if anyone else was watching. All right, section 2, why our brains forget. Now, I don't want you walking away from this explainer feeling guilty, so we are going to look at the total guilt relief behind why our memory actually works this way. This brilliantly illustrates why we miss these moments. The negativity bias. Our human brains are literally wired for survival. We evolved to pay attention to threats and problems, like being chased by predators. The unfortunate side effect of this is that our brains do not dedicate strong neural resources to recurring positive moments. So when your kid climbs into your lap for the 10,000th time, your brain just categorizes it as ordinary. And that ordinariness is actually a trap. Because it happens every day, the brain doesn't even bother strongly encoding it as a memory. Then, one day, it stops, and you have absolutely no memory of the final time because your brain decided it wasn't a threat and therefore just wasn't worth saving. Add to that the harsh reality of cognitive load. Research on parental mental load shows that parents of young children operate under some of the highest sustained mental load of any demographic on the planet. You are exhausted. You are constantly problem solving. You are quite literally surviving, not observing. So you are not a bad parent. Your brain is just terribly calibrated for this highly specific task of cataloging everyday magic. Section 3. The screen time problem. We really have to confront an uncomfortable truth here. Because while biology plays a huge role, modern distractions are quietly stealing these moments right out from under us. A 2023 study by Common Sense Media found that the average parent spends 9.5 hours a day on screens. And the absolute hardest part of that statistic? Their child is watching every single minute of it. While we are looking down, the lessons are happening right in front of us. And that leads to a deeply sobering thought. The last time your child watches you be fully present might be happening right now. They are literally watching us be distracted. But hey, before we get to the redemption arc, here's one last joke to carry us through. Why do kids always want one more story at bedtime? Because they know something we don't. They know exactly how fast it goes. Moving on to Section 4, reclaiming the moments ahead. Let's see how this builds into something incredibly hopeful. Look, you have missed some lasts. That is just mathematically true. But you haven't missed all of them. There are lasts that haven't even happened yet. The last time they run to show you a drawing. The last time they ask you to fix a broken toy because they still firmly believe you can fix absolutely anything. The last time they crawl into your bed on a Saturday morning just to be near you. The last time they yell, "Watch me," and actually need you to watch. Those lasts, they are still ahead of you. A really fascinating study from the University of Rochester on mindful parenting proved this beautifully. They found that parents who were simply taught to treat ordinary moments as potentially final were rated as significantly more emotionally present and responsive. The awareness itself changes behavior. You don't even have to try harder. You just have to know this concept exists. So the absolutely crucial point here is how we put this into practice today. Here are 3 actionable steps. Step 1, say yes once today. When your gut instinct is to say, "in a minute," override it just once. You don't have to be perfect, just start building the habit. Step 2, practice psychological savoring by narrating the ordinary. When your kid is eating breakfast or just playing on the floor, say out loud, even just a whisper to yourself, "I want to remember this." That physical act of narrating deeply encodes the memory into your brain. And step 3, recreate missed lasts. If your 9-year-old hasn't held your hand crossing the street in 2 years, take the long way today. Reach out for their hand. Children respond to a parent who shows up. You can create a new, honest version of a lost moment. And finally, Section 5, tonight's bedtime story. This brings us right back to the exact moment we teased at the very beginning of this explainer. Tonight's routine. For all the parents watching this, there is going to be a bedtime tonight. They might ask for one more story, and at some point, and you don't know when, there will be a last bedtime story. It will be the last time they ask, the last time they genuinely need your voice to fall asleep, the last time that specific book is the magic shield that makes the world safe enough to close their eyes. And the absolute hardest part is you won't know it's the last time when you turn off the light and walk out of the room. Tonight could literally be it. So read the story tonight, even if you are completely exhausted, even if you have read that exact same book 40 times in a row, even if they fall asleep before the end, read it like it might be the last time. Because one of these nights, for sure, it will be. If this explainer hit home for you today, please share this with a parent in your life who is in the thick of it and just needs a gentle reminder to look up for a second. And before we go, ask yourself this. If you knew for a fact that tonight was the final time, how would it change the way you walk into their room?